Every year, millions of people set new goals. They want to go to the gym, they want to eat healthy, they want to spend more time with the family, and etc. And for a while, things go well. Motivation is high, energy is good, they're following up with the new routine and the new patterns. But shortly after, usually, life happens. The routine gets disrupted, and then shortly after that, we're completely out of our new routine, and before we know it, we conclude, I just don't have enough discipline. But what if I were to tell you that the issue is not willpower? What if the way we understood behavioral change has nothing to do with discipline? Hi, I'm Muge. I'm a performance coach, and on this channel I explore psychology, neuroscience, and philosophy to try to explain why knowing what to do doesn't always translate into doing it. In my last video, I talked about procrastination and how it is often providing temporary relief from an uncomfortable emotion. The link to that video is in the description below. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you do. But in that video, I go in depth about how that there are complicated emotions that arise when we are challenged. And procrastination is often a relief from those emotions and to keep us in a comfortable happy state, even if it isn't good for us, right? So the question then becomes, if the patterns are emotional, why just more discipline doesn't fix the issue? Because most of us don't need more information. We already know what we need to do. The bigger question is, why is change so difficult? For the longest time, we thought that successful people are just more disciplined, that they can push harder, that they have stronger willpower, that they can deal with difficult emotions better. And there is some truth to that. Self-control and discipline play a major role in being successful and achieving our goals. But it isn't the only thing that matters. Relying purely on discipline is a fragile strategy to achieve our goals, because our willpower is often influenced by our environment, the level of tiredness, stress levels, our diet, and a lot of other things. For instance, with a day where you feel rested, right? And you go about your day, you make the right decisions, you eat healthy, you are energized, you feel good about it, and you do everything just well. Compared to a day where you haven't slept well, now making the right choices for food and exercising and all of that becomes a lot harder. And you're on top of that having a stressful day, something happened. It is a lot harder to follow through with your diet on a day where you're tired and you have unexpected stress and things that were out of your control. We can make a conclusion here that is quite powerful, that behavior is not something that we just want. It's also something that is conditioned based on our environment and situations around us. So the question arises, if willpower is not enough, then what do we need to create change in our behaviors? The best way of doing that is to understand how habits are formed. Research on habits and habit formation shows that many of our behaviors are automatic and are not actually conscious anymore. Someone who actually explains this very well is Charles Duhigg. He explains habits and willpower. If you think of habit loop, as it's called, you would have a cue, a behavior, and a reward. Something triggers a behavior, that's your cue, right? And then once the behavior is done, it becomes reinforced with a reward. For instance, when you finish a meeting with your boss, right after, because you felt stressed or nervous, you start scrolling your phone for 10 minutes. The cue is, I finished something difficult. And then the reward is not the phone, but the reward is the relief you get from scrolling. So the cue triggers the behavior becomes reinforced with the reward, and the routine is then that behavior itself, which means your brain starts to learn, when I feel a certain way, if I do this, I will feel better. That could be applied in different scenarios. So in this case, we said finishing a meeting, scrolling, immediate relief. So why do we fail in changing the habits? One of the common mistakes that people make is that they focus on changing the behavior without understanding what that behavior is serving. What do I mean by that? They say, I need to stop procrastinating. I need to stop scrolling. I need to stop smoking. Whatever it is, they just focus on the behavior itself. But that behavior is in some way solving a problem for you, even if it is not long term. So one better way of asking a question is, what is this behavior doing for me? What problem is it solving for me? So maybe scrolling is giving you a sense of connection, or maybe procrastinating is protecting you from the feeling of failure or the potential of failure, and the list goes on, right? It doesn't mean, and this is important, it doesn't mean that that outcome or the service that it provides, let's say, is actually good for you in the long run. If it were good for you, you wouldn't probably want to change it anyway. The reason it is complicated is because it is always providing you a short-term solution to something which isn't meeting your long-term goal. What actually creates lasting change? I think there are 3 steps that are essential to this. Number 1 is creating awareness around the habit loop. Understand what triggers the behavior and understand what reward you're getting from that behavior. And the more you have awareness around these cues and rewards, the more you understand how to replace that behavior with something else so that you can still get the reward, but maybe replace it in a different way. Number 2 is make your environment support your goal. That means if you want to read more books, then have more books ready in the house and visible to you. If you want to wake up at 5 a.m. and go for a run, put everything that you need for running the night before ready next to the bed or next to the door. So when your alarm goes on and you're tired and you're sleepy, you don't have to go look for everything and figure things out. You already are struggling to do the action. Make it as easy as possible so you can just follow through with them and have the least amount of resistance. And then lastly, I would say build evidence on that identity. We often think that confidence is something we have. Confidence is something that we build. It works the opposite way. The more you do something, the more you feel confident about it. You're not just born with confidence. Every time you do a small commitment towards your goal, you're collecting evidence to become the person you want to become. And that gives you a sense of identity. And the more you do that, the more you repeat that, the more it becomes you rather than something you do. Do you see the distinction? Essentially, lasting change isn't about having unlimited discipline, but most people don't have that. And relying on that will only frustrate you and only make you feel bad about yourself. Maybe a much more productive way is to understand your systems, your environments, and your emotions that are all influencing that behavior. Essentially, the goal is not to fight your brain, it is to understand it better so you can work with it rather than fight with it. Because once we understand why we do what we do, we can create the possibility of doing something different. Try these out at home. Let me know how it works for you. Thank you for watching and stay curious for the next one. Bye.